starting with one real grain recording. We're going to pull the strongest moments and quotes from that recording for a specific audience. We're going to generate a blog, um, 2 or 3 LinkedIn posts from the transcript, caption some clips, add them to a story, and then edit that video content into something that can be postable on a YouTube or LinkedIn, one of those uh, social media platforms. Again, the 3 things, and we're just sharing our learnings here because this is what we found to be helpful, is keep the voice. Tell it to, use the voice of the conversation. No new facts. Always document its facts with things from the transcript, and then indicate the audience early on so it knows who it's writing for, and it'll produce better output from there. Go. It is now starting to work and fetched the meeting details, the notes, and the transcript. And now pulling the transcript, find the verbatim quotes, and it's going to start building that content for us. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today's topic is going to be turning grain calls into content. I'm really looking forward to this topic. It's been something that myself and our team has been using over the past couple months, and really iterating and improving our own process of taking grain content and making it, or grain conversations, and turning it into content that we've been using to boost our marketing traction. So really looking forward to this. I have 2 of my colleagues on the call with us today, Tebby and Ella. They have beautiful backgrounds. I didn't know we were coming with coordinated backgrounds. I would have got mine updated. But Tebby and Ella will be helping me manage the chat queue. So please feel free to drop your questions at any time in the chat. They will do their best to answer those promptly and then surface any to myself to have me pause and answer those. So I'll give a second I'll do a quick introduction of our team as well. I'm Ben. I am our head of operations here at Grain. So as such, I help on all of our customer-facing side of the team. So please feel free to reach out to myself at any time. I would be happy to talk with you about your grain setup or your grain usage, and help you find workflows that, or help you build custom workflows around your grain environment, or even take feedback on our product as well. So I'll let Tebby and Ella quickly introduce themselves, and then we'll dive into our conversation today. Tebby, over to you.
Yep. I'm Tebby. I lead customer success here at Grain, and just everything that Ben said. If you would need to talk about what we're going to discuss after this call, please feel free to reach out, and we'll be monitoring the chat to try to respond to as many questions as possible. And the ones that need answer for everyone, we will route it to Ben to take care of it.
Hey guys, I'm Ella. Some of you may have seen me. I'm around in sales, and I also help out with operations. It's great to see you guys all here. And as Tebby said, we're available for you in case you have any questions, so feel free to reach out anytime.
Great. Well, thanks. So yeah, jumping right into our conversation today. As I said earlier, we're focused. Today's conversation is turning your grain calls into content. So what we'd like to cover today is just a basic overview of how we're taking one recording and turning it into mini assets. So we'll kind of discuss some of our learnings here and give you a foundation for what we're going to be doing during our live demo. The majority of our conversation will focus there on the live demo, where I will walk through finding a call, turning it into content, and then kind of our process there. Then we would love to have some questions from you as well, and we'd be happy to stay on and answer as many of those as we get, about how we can, what we've learned, how this could apply for your own workflows, and then anything else you'd like to discuss. So jumping into our first section here, whoops, I forgot we added this slide. So just overview what it is. The way we think about this is you're already recording everything, your customer conversations, your sales, your product research, your CS calls. They all have fantastic material in them. And we'd love for that to be easily accessible that material to be easily accessible in in the content you're posting on your blogs, on your social media, any kind of platforms there. So that's what we're focusing on. So now on to section 1. So the recordings are the raw material, right? So Rain records, transcribes across Zoom, Meet, Teams with everything, including speaker labels, timestamps, chapters. What this does is it gives us a good platform for creating content. AI is incredibly good at taking that transcript, taking those notes, the timestamps, everything, and then creating it into things such as a blog post, a LinkedIn post, a X thread, and additional content, the videos, things. And what it does is it can take one and turn it into many. And that's really what we're going to focus on today, is how to take one call and turn it into many different calls. The prerequisites are pretty simple, and I'm hoping that most of these you guys have already started to do. So first is just create a Grain account. Most people on this call today, I'm assuming, will have already done that. Second is record your calls with Grain. It can be a bot or a desktop capture. The benefit to the bot is that it allows us to use clips for videos and other assets, whereas desktop capture provides us the full transcript, and it's good for doing things like LinkedIn and blogs, but we don't get that video content that can go along with it, and we will show how to do that video content. So then finally, we use Claude, but you can use Claude or ChatGPT. Grain is available as an app in both of those locations. So please use those to so we're going to use Claude to help us connect that and use the LLM models as a kind of backbone for creating this content. So a couple things that we've learned as we've been building this. There's a couple things that I have found extremely helpful, and I just want to share some of those insights. So first and foremost is AI has a tendency to insert its own voice into the conversation. I don't know if anyone has seen this, but AI has a tendency to use certain words and dashes, other kind of things. One of the things that we often do is we use and prompt the LLM to keep the voice of the conversation. Conversations tend to have, how we would, typically articulate things and how we would discuss things. And when you tell it to keep the voice of the conversation, it sounds authentic. And that's what we want it to sound like. We want AI to give us that first step, but we still want it to sound authentic, to sound real, sound like ourselves. So first and foremost is keep the voice. That's one thing we've learned, is that prompting it towards keeping the voice is a helpful way to just sound that authentic self. Second is no new facts. I've seen it countless times where it'll start to input little, lines, thoughts, or into the content itself, that doesn't have any grounding. It's not grounded in the conversation itself. So that's one thing that we prompt it to do, and I'll kind of walk through that as well, is that no new facts. Um, Make sure that because you're using a meeting transcript, um, we prompt it to kind of trace everything back to the call. Find that quote, find that, if anytime it's showing a fact, find it from the conversation itself, rather than, inserting anything else. It's just a way to ensure that it, isn't leading, inserting its own thoughts or kind of facts into the conversation. And then the final thing that we've learned as we're building this, and we'll show you all three of these as during the live demo, but the final thing is um, output over um, outcome. So we still want, it's 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 very important that you choose the right audience, and that's an important step in this process. Is who is this written for, and that helps the output, I guess I would say. So we try to always have AI ask us, who is this for? And that'll be a step that we show in the live demo is, during the skill we created, and we'll share this with everyone, but that it reiterates back to us, okay, this is who I think this is for. Um, and that audience, I guess we could probably say this is audience focused, is a really important step, is nailing the audience. When AI knows who it's writing for, we tend to find that it gives a better output. And so that's kind of the final thing here, is just that it needs to be specific for an audience. And when you give it that audience early on, the output becomes better. So again, the three things, and we're just sharing our learnings here because this is what we found to be helpful, is keep the voice. Tell it to, use the voice of the conversation. No new facts. Always document its facts with things from the transcript, and then indicate the audience early on so it knows who it's writing for, and it'll produce better output from there. So those are three things we've learned. We just want to share these as we get into the live demo. We'll again kind of recover these. So as we go through this call, we wanted to kind of give you a clear understanding of what you'll get after this call. There's four things that we will be sharing with you at the end of today's call. One will be the example skill that we're going to live demo. It's a file you can drop straight into Claude. Two will be the recording of today's session. Three is this deck, so any of the kind of associated information in this deck. And then fourth is a PDF one-pager with a link to see what other Grain users are building with Claude. It's just a general overview of what Claude will provide. So this is what you'll get after this call. Probably should have put this earlier in the deck, but hopefully this is helpful, so you understand as we get into this what you'll be getting out today. I'm going to take a quick second to pause as we ran through those slides. Just wanted to see if there was any questions before we get into this live demo. And feel free to post those in the chat if you have any. I will just take 1 second to kind of hang here for a second, and then we can jump into the live demo section of this webinar. Okay. Not seeing any questions, so I will just keep going.
Ben,
So,
there's a question in the chat.
oh, yeah. Thank you, Adrian. Yes, we will be going to go show through clip creation and story creation as well for our video content. So we're gonna, that's great. That actually leads me right into what we're gonna cover in the live demo. So thanks, Adrian, for. So what we're going to be showing in the live demo is starting with one real grain recording. We're going to pull the strongest moments and quotes from that recording for a specific audience. We're going to generate a blog, um, 2 or 3 LinkedIn posts from the transcript, capture some clips, add them to a story, and then edit that video content into something that can be postable on a YouTube or LinkedIn, one of those uh, social media platforms. So that is what we will be doing in our live demo. And so I think what we had a question for is, um, you know, well, actually, we'll come back to that question later. That's what we'll do after we've kind of built this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to share kind of my Claude, and we will um, now transfer over to the live demonstration of what we will be building. So um, what we've created is a skill that we hope everyone will be able to use. As I said earlier, we'll be sharing this skill in the follow-up email to this webinar with everyone. I will show kind of the backbone of this skill right now. What we're calling it is meeting to content. This is the name of the skill. What the goal of the skill is to do is to turn a grain recording into 1 blog post, 2 LinkedIn posts, and 3 to 4 short video clips. And this, like I said, this takes the grain recording. Again, audience is the goal here. This is required. We need to know, and we find that AI, once it has that knowledge, it's a lot more effective, rather than it trying to find it. Essentially, what the skill does is fetches the meetings, find the upshots, pull the strongest moments, build the assets. This is our voice plus voice guide. It'll save the text files as a blog post, a LinkedIn, etc. And then we pick the clips from the conversations, and it'll create the grain clips. And once it's created the clips, it'll ask for approval, and then it'll bundle into a story. Oops, just sorry about that. I clicked out. Let me jump back in here. And it'll build those into a story and then report back. So we have some voice guide as well, and some formatting on the blog and LinkedIn. So like I said, we'll be sharing this with everyone afterwards, but this is going to be the skill that I'm going to be demonstrating today. For the purpose of this meeting, I'm going to use a video that we have pre-selected, but I did want to show an example just if yesterday where I had the AI find a strong candidate for a meeting. So this is another way to do that would be find a strong candidate. It's a pretty basic prompt. If there's not a meeting you have in mind, but you have lots of recordings you're doing weekly, you can ask AI to go review all those conversations, identify a strong candidate, and then it can pull from your meeting library or from such things as a playlist to find that content. So that is a great way to do a quick kind of search of conversations to find the proper meeting. Today's example, like I said, we're just going to do it from a meeting that we have already selected as a strong candidate for this. So I'll go ahead and start a new chat. We're going to, add that skill to our conversation. And then I'm going to just paste a link to the grain conversation. So let me just going to grab it for us here. One second as I grab the link. And, you can just grab a simple brain link and then paste it here just as the following. The meeting content skill at the beginning there, it tells in the skill it has how to pull that meeting link or the meeting ID from the link itself. So this is all we would need to get started, that skill and a link to the recording. If not, you could ask it to go find a good, if you're not sure which meeting you want to use, you can go tell it to find a good example. And then from here, we're just, going to start this process. It'll go, through the steps of the skill. So starting with reading the instructions and going from there. So I'll just wait a second at this. So this is great. This is where we want it to start, is who is this content for, right? This is a great question for us to ask here. Based on what these are fine examples. I think I might give it a little bit more detail. I have someone specific in mind that I would like to, kind of write this content for. And I'll say sales. So I just kind of put in my own prompt here. As this is running, I'm just looking at a couple of the questions. And Adrian, to your question, is Sonnet good enough for this? Yes, we found Sonnet good enough. Typically, I do actually, good catch. I do typically work, or I've been more recently working with Fable, but I didn't catch that before starting this. Sometimes, the nerves of a webinar can get to you. But yes, I do love using Fable, but Sonnet is going to be good enough for this situation. And then to Caitlin, yes, we are planning to share the meeting to content skill text after this meeting. That will be in the follow-up email. We can share it as a .skill file that you can upload, but we'll also share it as a PDF. If that would be helpful, we can share both. So here we go. It is now starting to work and fetched the meeting details, the notes, and the transcript. And now pulling the transcript, find the verbatim quotes, and it's going to start building that content for us. And JC, that's a great question. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, I'm just going through these questions as Claude's working here. if you're using projects to have all your content writing guides in one place, um, I would write the skill in that project, um, where the other writing guides and instructions live, um, just because of wanting to show this as an example for anyone to use. We just did it um, in just a regular chat. But projects are a great place for additional content to live. I have a personal project where I have grains um, branded, colors, voice, things like that, additional reference materials. Um, so this is something that we definitely recommend. Just for demonstration today, we just wanted to make it as simple as possible for anyone to start using. So, but if you are using projects, I find it helpful. As well, building and co-work. Great question. Yes, Caroline. Building and co-work is great as well. I personally actually use probably Claude Code more than I do co-work. I like it to be on my machine, the files, pretty easily accessible. Um, Co-work and I find Claude Code to be very helpful. And I will actually go into Claude Code in just a minute when we show the video editing aspect of today's conversation. So, um, but either one works. Co-work, I would just say wherever you're comfortable. That's how I would approach this. Is if you're comfortable in chat, start in chat. If you're comfortable in co-work, start in co-work. And if you're comfortable in Claude Code, start there as well. This is something where it really should work in any environment that you're working in. It's just about how you feel comfortable using it, and getting started. So, um, yeah. So, Carolyn, I really love these questions, and this is fun to be able to answer questions as Claude's working. I love this. So, um, so this still doesn't have anonymized with it specifically. We asked permission to this video specifically was part of a MCP case study that we were working. We reached out to customers and asked if we could build MCP case studies with them. And so this is not a in-flight, or this is a customer conversation that was to build content from. But I'm sure if you even at the beginning of the prompt, you just said anonymize the, even, back here before starting the skill. If you just said anonymize the content here, or anonymize the transcripts, that would be another great way to do it. In this context, we didn't need to do it, but that's a good question. So now we have, oops. Well, sometimes Claude, uh, it didn't show me the dot md files of the blog. It didn't show me the links to open those up. I think it built them, but it's only showing me the other two. So, obviously, this is something sometimes. Come on, Claude, making me look bad. It's not. That's a funny way to do it. Okay. So, reviewing what it did, just taking a step back here. What it went and did is it built all the assets. Right now, it's just showing me the previews to the clips it built. So, Grains MCP provides the ability to create clips from meetings. Great little automation tool that's included in the MCP usage. What it went and did is created, time-stamped clip moments from the conversation. And we'll go and preview these in just a second. when we get to the video editing. First, we're going to make the blog. Um, and that's why then I asked for it to show me the blog file. It didn't show me it as an MD. It just decided to put the full text here. Um, but as we're scrolling through this, you can see all of the content it wrote out for this blog. Now, I wanted to be really honest today about our full process from content creation to to a blog created. So we wanted to show the tools that we use. Now, we are not promoting these tools, and not, they're not required tools, but we do use some outside tools to help with our SEO. And as this is part of a demonstration of taking a grain call and creating content, we wanted to kind of show that full process. So the tool we use personally at Grain is called SEO Surfer. Again, this is not a required tool to be using, but we wanted to show you our full process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this content, and then I'm going to show you how we use how we use SEO Surfer to. This is being really frustrating today. Why is this not scrolling? Sorry, give me 1 second. You probably want a break from listening to Ben talk. What's going on here? It's too much. It's not scrolling. This is why I wanted it to display it.
Yeah. Something is weird to her.
Oh my goodness. Ellie, can you? What am I doing wrong here? Okay, there we go. Now we're scrolling. Okay. Apologies. It's a good thing I can laugh at myself. So, okay.
Happens to the best of us, Ben.
What we're going to show here is just to give you the full context. So taking that blog content, right? So that was a great blog, and it's a great foundation for starting. Now, our opinion of a blog is that it's a great way to generate good content that can be shareable, but also to help with SEO and GEO. To do this, we want to target keywords. And there's a tool called SEO Surfer. Again, this is not us promoting them in any way. It's just what we personally use. And I wanted to be honest and candid about how we turn our content, our grain calls, into content, and the full process here. So taking that call, we use SEO Surfer to help boost those SEO keywords that are important for us. And typically for each blog, we are kind of targeting a specific set of keywords or something that we want to rank highly on. In this case, based on kind of the content that was just written and the context of this call, we might be really wanting to boost kind of our, let's call it agentic workflow. And this is a good, keyword that could be helpful. Maybe we will AI agents as well. And what SEO Surfer will go and do is it'll do a little, what we call like a deep research. It'll find, it'll generate prompts for, so it'll do two things. It'll call GEO and SEO. It'll generate prompts that will surface this blog or help surface it. It'll scrape answers from different sources, and it'll also do Google search results, SEO work. So these are the two things that it'll do to help prep this prep its knowledge, I guess its knowledge base, to help improve that blog that we are going to now post in here. And you'll see in just a second after it does this scraping, when we actually create the content, how it uses this research to improve our blog content. So we'll just give this 1 second here as it finishes. And yes, Gregory, it does optimize for the LLM. So that's what it's doing at the top half, and then the bottom half is for SEO. So it does optimizing for both GEO or the LLMs and SEO. So what am I going to be? Then it asked me what am I going to be creating, and I'm going to be creating a blog post, and then it has its some writing modes, I guess you could say. And you can write specific instructions for it to go and create it, or you can just create your own. So I will say write it yourself. So we want to write ourselves. We've already created the, essentially the output from the conversation. And we will then paste that blog that Claude wrote into this, their text editor here. And then what's happening is it will give us a content score. So it'll say, based on what is written, how does this perform on SEO and AI search? The AI search is loading. And then what I can ask it to do is to auto-optimize my blog that it's created for SEO and AI search. It's just taking a second here. And as kind of expected, this blog is not doing so great for either of the topics that I wanted. So what I would, then do here, and I'll wait until, well, we'll auto-optimize for SEO first, and then we can do the AI search. So then I would just hit auto-optimize, and then it'll go through and optimize this output for SEO to improve the search engine optimization of this blog that we've created. So this is just kind of our additional step that we're doing outside of Claude to improve our personal blogs and just to get as good quality output as possible. So, then I can go through and view all the edits that it's gone ahead and makes. Historically, I've noticed that it doesn't make that many, and they're not too obtrusive. It's really just kind of fitting in these keywords into the conversation, and I do appreciate this tool as it does this. So we could save these and go one by one to save this. So this is kind of where I plan to finish, on the blog. The latter half of our blog is, posting it on our website, and I don't think we really need to get into those details. But essentially for us, at this point, besides some maybe images that we want to incorporate, this is where we would, mark off the blog as ready to post, after it goes through some internal reviews. But this is what we are optimizing for here, and how we take the content and turn it into a blog. What I want to now cover is the video side of things. So I will transition back to Claude here. And what Claude did, beyond just the blogs and the LinkedIns, is it also created some videos. Now, videos from Grain are great. They are shown as clips, but videos as clips are, they're not marked up. They don't have, maybe some color and they don't look so flashy. Well, a great thing is Claude can do that for us. Claude can make this, turn a video into what looks like a professionally um, built video. So how we do that is through a set of skills that anyone can go and download. It's a tool called Remotion. So we'll take a look at um, one of these clips. And we'll open up this link and I'll switch back over to switching over here. And, we can watch this link, we can watch this video, or we can download all the videos. And that's, what we'll go ahead and do right now is we'll download those. I'll take 2 of the clips here and download the clips. So Grain created the Grain MCP created the clip. We'll just go ahead and download this clip using this little download button. It'll download it as MP4. I'm gonna open up one more of these clips. And download this as well. So the tool that we're going to use next to help us do some of the video editing is a tool called Remotion. This is, there are paid plans here. We're just using their free plan. And it's, again, called Remotion. It's very simple to set up. You can do it, and I'll show you in one or two, in just by literally copying this prompt into Claude Code. And that will give you the Remotion skills that allows Claude to do some additional video editing. So it's very simple. It's just remotion.dev. You hit this docs link at the top, and then you will just simply copy these 2 lines, or all 3 lines if you wanted to, but let's just say all 3 lines, and then paste that into a new Claude chat, and it'll go ahead and install this skill for you, the Remotion skills, and then I'll show you now when we jump back into Claude how Remotion creates the video for you. So very simple, and I will just paste this link in just a second. Let me just paste these into the chat so everyone can have that. So now jumping back over to Claude, and I'll show you. I went ahead and did this yesterday just so that I could show this as an example. So with those 3 lines pasted, you'll come over to your Claude, and you would just, or Claude Code. It's, if you have the app downloaded, just come to Claude Code. You'll just hit new session, and then paste that into, you paste it into the describe a task. And I did it yesterday so we didn't have to wait for Claude. So I just pasted, again, those 2 lines. You could do all 3 if you wanted. The first 2 are really what get it completed. It'll ensure that the node is installed and then, checked. And then it installed the Remotion skills. So installed those skills via the skills client interface. It's a total of 8 skills. And the one that we will use today is called Remotion Create. And I will now go to a new session. We'll take those 2 recently downloaded clips and we'll create a new LinkedIn video from the uploaded one. So pretty simply here, again, we're just going to do our backslash. We'll type in Remotion. There's 8 skills. You can look at them individually, but the one we're going to just be using today is called Remotion Create. And I'm just going to say, take the 2 uploaded videos and turn them into one LinkedIn ready video. I'm going to add my two files. And those are just the two brain highlight videos, those MP4s that we just created. Going to add those in here. Now, again, I might want to add some additional, you know, audience. You could use, additional context here if you wanted to. I'm, you know, uh, going to just start with those two, and we'll just start with this prompt, a simple prompt, so that we can show you as an example. But feel free to add additional context about what you want included, how you want it formatted, anything. But you could also just do simply take the two uploaded videos and turn them into one LinkedIn ready video. So that skill, the Remotion, will you know take the two videos. It'll parse the information in the videos, and oh, interesting. And we'll just kind of wait here for a second as it processes through this information, and creates the clips, or takes the clips, and turns them into a well, actually, just for time's sake, I'm going to um, show you what it did yesterday as I ran this exact prompt. So we're not waiting here the whole time as that creates. So what I did yesterday, I did a very similar process. I just added one, clip here. And this was just a clip that I uploaded. Again, I said, Remotion create a new video, a new LinkedIn video from the upload. It ran that skill, the Remotion create. It scaffolded the project, copied the video into a folder, optimized the video for, LinkedIn. And then that final output here is a new Remotion video that I can go ahead and download. It's in my folders, but I'll just open it as a, oops. Well, I close. Oh, I closed the browser tab. Oops. Hold on. Let me open this up in folder. Here we go. Open in Finder, and then I'll share this in just 1 second. Oops. Okay. Give me 1 second. We'll just render the final output. That's probably the easier way to do it. I closed the tab, and I guess it's not allowing me to reopen it. I don't know if it's because I started a new session or not, but essentially, when I'm happy, render the final MP4, and I can just hit this run in terminal, and it'll run that, and render that final output. And then I can share this with everyone now that it's ends up on my desktop. Wait a second. And okay, 1 second here. Oh, oh, apologies. wasn't doing what I wanted it. So 1 second. I'm going to just stop sharing screen for just a second here. And then I'll reshare when that's.
I have a question in the meantime.
Yes, please. Thank you.
What are there settings that we can put in Grain to make the recording or the clips like higher quality because we're going to use them from a content perspective? Is there something we should be doing in the settings that way?
Um, so the our recording is capped at 720p. So I do find that to be sufficient for most kind of outputs. But we don't give any control over the actual video quality, but we do give you control over how you want the video kind of recorded, like there's a couple settings that we have inside of Grain. I'll quickly jump over to my account and show you what I'm talking about. But you can customize the way it visually is recorded. So we have in here, thanks for the patience, everyone. We have, if we come under my account and you're under my meetings, under bot display settings, we have a couple options for recording mode. So it's active speaker only recording or gallery display. So those are two options. And then as well with the screen share, I personally would recommend if you're doing, posts about this, side by side is probably the most, or overlay, either one, but you could kind of choose how to customize or hide and share only screen. So there's a couple recording options for how you want the recorded content. As far as the quality goes, it will just be in 720. So, but that's a great question. Okay, coming back to what I was working on. I just had Claude, needed to restart the local host. So I just had it redo this so I could show the final output. So this is what Remotion created from the clip that I uploaded yesterday. And so this is what you could then share. So it took the grain clip and added some different features along with this. Like a grain highlight, hear it straight from the meeting, some additional content. And you can work with Claude and, Claude, which uses the Remotion skills, to personally edit this and make changes. You could say, retitle it or get rid of the green banner. I didn't give it any prompting, but this is the output that it created for me. So again, once I'm ready, I can just hit render and that will download it to my desktop folders. So, I could have asked it to add transcript or done, additional content here, but, pretty simply, it kind of just did an intro, a slide in, and then started playing the video shortly after. So this is something that, is now available to use. This looks a lot more professional than just a grain clip. You could post this on LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. So that's what I was trying to show. So thank you for your patience there as I kind of ran into a little bit of a hiccup. And as far as this, it is still working on this task to output the two videos looks like it ran into a couple issues here overall. Now, it should be building, the project scaffolding is now building, and it's going through some tasks outputs to fix that. So we are almost out of time. I didn't realize how much I'd been talking, but really, really appreciate everyone staying on through this. So that is what we had wanted to show you for the live demo, was going from video to blog and then creating and using Claude Code to create a stylized outputted video. Again, you can make adjustments to this by simply prompting different things, use a different banner, use a different H1, get rid of the bottom play bar, just simple captions here. It'll make those updates for you and then render a new video. So it's really, really effective, and just takes that grain clip that's not stylized and turns it into something that feels a little bit more professional, feels a little bit more built, and it's just been a great way to take content and just make it look professional. So, and it's like 2 or 3 prompts, and all of a sudden you have something that's way more you know professional looking than I could ever build myself personally. So I will stop. And yes, Gregor, that's what the combining the clips into the clips together into one video is what I was trying to show with the personal example. It's working on that, and Remotion does have that capability of taking multiple clips and building it together. It takes a little bit longer for it to do it, but it has those skills to, drop in multiple MP4 files and do it. Uh, Lionel, will you add any of these tools into Grain itself? Um, so we don't have any plans to add anything into Grain itself with as far as video editing and tool creating. What we are hoping to do is just show you the capabilities that are out there in Claude and ChatGPT that allow for you to go and do that. We want to provide the best recording experience, and then help you take those meeting recordings and turn them into assets. So the LLMs, Claude and ChatGPT, they have way more power than we would ever be able to personally provide you inside of Grain. And so that's what we're hoping, is that we can show you exactly how to take a Grain recording and get it all the way into production ready. So so a couple other questions here. On duplex sound recordings to have good sound in your grain outputs. I'll have to ask engineering on that. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but I would have to look into that. So something we can ask. And Blake, I would love to see a post and some clips to send as a follow-up that can be for us to reference and use to start experimenting. Do you have any plans to create some additional content for this? Yeah, we have plans to create content from this webinar, and we can, we'll post blogs and other videos from this content using the tools that we use today. So you'll see those on our LinkedIn as well. So. And I'm going to just share again my screen here so everyone can see what we'll be following up with. Again, from our call today, we will be following up with these following assets. So I'll continue to follow the chat. Thanks, Lionel, for following up on that. Again, sorry, I apologize, Lionel. This is just a little bit above my understanding, and we just don't have anyone from our technical team here today. But please, if you do have questions like this, Lionel, please just reach out to help@grain.com, and or the chat support inside of Grain with this question, and then we can link it to the proper channels to get that answered. So just in closing here, again, we really appreciate you taking the time, and thank you for sticking with me, as sometimes live demonstrations run into challenges there, a couple hiccups throughout, but I really appreciate all the amazing questions. And I appreciate everyone being such an avid supporter of Grain. We feel your appreciation for our product, and it makes us continue to want to build and improve what we provide. So thank you for attending, and we will follow up with these following items. And again, if you have any questions, please email help@grain.com. And thank you for attending, and please join our Slack community as well. There's a great group of individuals there that are sharing their own insights. I will post a link into the chat conversation here, or Ella did so. So please feel free to join our Slack, and we would love to see you in that community. Thank you so much for attending today, and we will follow up with that additional information. Thank you.
Everyone.